our first Higher Ground podcast episode for 2026. And our discussion today is focused around building teams. People don't want to leave. Now, that is a very interesting topic. And I'm very excited to introduce our guest speaker today, which is Dori Moreno. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks, Nicole. It's so lovely to be on your first podcast for 2026.
Thank you, Dori. I really appreciate it. And I think this energy and this topic will just kickstart the year. So I'm very, very excited to dive into a couple of questions with you. But I'd just like to introduce you to our audience. So Dori is a growth strategist, a keynote speaker, and also a corporate facilitator extraordinaire. She works at the intersection of leadership, strategy, and meaningful conversations, just like today. She is a well-requested speaker and is also well known to cut through complexity in the workplace, which again is so powerful for our platform because we have recruiters, business leaders, and many other like-minded individuals listening in on these podcasts. So we do believe this is quite a valuable topic and insights. Dori also helps brands and businesses move from intention to action, and her work is rooted in a simple yet powerful belief where real growth happens with the right conversations, and she's built a career helping businesses have them specifically. So yes, that is Dori, and we're just so excited to have her on our podcast today, and I think we're gonna dive straight into it.
Let's go.
So Dori, where does retention actually begin, and why does it start before someone's first day starting at that company?
Retention begins way, way before you even meet anyone or speak to anybody about a position or a role. You see, retention is based on trust. And trust starts developing when you have an engagement with an organization, be it through their branding, be it through their advertising, be it you already start building a relationship with that entity. So the whole interview process or the process of getting to meet someone that represents that organization is an extension of the perception that you have created and the trust that you have created in your mind from however you may have experienced that brand or that organization in the past. Yeah. So retention is trust. It really is. It's just a matter of saying, do I feel safe? Do I trust this place? Do I feel like they have my best interests at heart and I can develop myself to be the best, most powerful version of me? And that is essentially trust.
Yeah, you're 100% right. As you're talking, Dori, I'm thinking about from the moment I pick up the phone and I sell an opportunity to a candidate, that is generally linked to a brand, whether I'm selling an opportunity at a bank or an insurance company or an FMCG company, already that person is thinking about their perception or their understanding of that brand. And that's how we start creating trust with the recruiter or with the organization. So I absolutely love that. It happens from the moment you connect around that particular opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that's why having values written up on a wall, but not living them in your organization or it just goes such a long way between just a disconnect, because people will have experienced you in some way, a brand promise, or they walk into the reception and your values are up there. And then if they walk into a meeting with somebody and that person doesn't reflect that or doesn't live those values or doesn't, then there's a lack of synergy. There's a lack of, you just kind of feel what's going on here. So, and when that starts happening, you're already starting to break down the trust, whatever trust you've built up through the engagements that have happened. The minute there's a disconnect somewhere or someone says something that doesn't quite, you may not be aware of it, but the brand is incredible. You're already starting to feel like something's not feeling right here. And so if you already start on your first day with your trust, your guard down, then you've got to kind of like build up again. You're already halfway out the door, actually. So your retention is already being impacted by that.
Absolutely. And as you're talking, I'm just thinking again on the values. Like, it's all about connection and synergy and feeling like everything's aligned from a values and beliefs perspective. You've got to feel like you can see yourself there, or you can see yourself working with this individual or thriving in this organization. So absolutely, those are all incredible points. And as you say, retention happens way before, the
The
person
first
even,
meeting.
yeah, I think the first meeting, before they even start, before they have a real
Mm,
conversation, in-person
mm.
conversation with you. So I love that. And I mean, Dori, how does leadership style or role clarity and growth opportunity intersect to determine whether people stay or leave an organization?
Oh, leadership, we have a very short time. I could talk on this for hours, and I
Yeah.
mean, I do workshops on leadership and culture and all sorts of stuff. And, people don't leave work. They leave how work feels. And that is really culture. When I talk about culture, is what's the feeling when you walk? What's the smell of the place? When you walk into a place, what's the feeling that you get? What's going on? What's the vibe? What's the energy? Um, People want to contribute, they want to belong, they want to build something, we want to build something meaningful together.
Mm,
And leadership, you know, has a massive impact and contribution to play in terms of people feeling like they're being treated like adults and not being managed like naughty children, which happens
yeah.
often in workplaces. We kind of get this like superiority. I'm a leader, I'm in charge. So, you're not an adult anymore. You can't make decisions. You will do what you're told to do kind of attitude. People want to be trusted. They want to be heard. We want to be allowed to think. You employ people because they bring the capacity to think and make the place a better place. And yet, the minute we walk into an organization, we start getting pushed into boxes and being told, stay in your lane, don't do this, don't do that. So, then we're diminishing the value that people bring rather than encouraging and bringing out the value that people bring. Role
Mm,
clarity is a key thing. I think if people don't know what it is expected of them, and the expectations are vague, if people are feeling anxious, if they're feeling exposed, then it affects confidence. And then that's where you will find leadership saying things like stay in your lane. But actually, what people are trying to do is they're trying to find their purpose and where they can add impact. And so when you find yourself as a leader saying to someone, stay in your lane, or don't worry about this, or don't do that, or do whatever, it's because people don't have clarity around what it is that's expected of them
mm,
and what it is that they're going to be measured on, or where the organization feels that they can give the most benefit and the most impact. And the third thing I would say is growth. People want to grow. We need to see a future for ourselves in the places that we're in. If I can't grow here, then I'm going to look elsewhere to grow. And again, leaders often say to me, but we create an environment, we have a growth environment, or we support growth and we support learning and we support all of these things. And yet people are still leaving. Again, it goes back to that thing of like, if you have it up on the wall, but you're not living that, if you're not supporting it, then you can put whatever you want up on the walls. It makes no difference. So growth is about, as a leader, is doesn't have to be formal. It doesn't have to be go and do this course or go and do that course or get this certification. Growth is investing time in people.
mm.
Growth is enabling people to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes and supporting them through those mistakes. So growth looks
Yes.
very different to go and do this degree or that qualification, and then you will get promoted into a different role. Growth is about adding value and yeah, people, they may leave for money or for flexibility. They do leave for those reasons as well, but generally people leave because they're not feeling valued or they're not feeling inspired and they're not really part of the solution.
Mm, absolutely. That was so powerful, Dori. Just like absolutely amazing. I feel like that's gonna ring bells as people, start thinking about their current situation or their current manager or their current position in an organization. Are they feeling all those values? Are they feeling connected? Are they feeling like their work is meaningful and they have purpose and they've
Mm,
got incredible support? Because again, there are so many people that I speak to that they actually love the environment and the culture and the people so much that sometimes the money doesn't matter as much. They just love getting up in the morning, and they're so stimulated by the people they're surrounded by, because again, people define that culture. They really create that culture. And again,
Yep.
I think that's why that leadership is so important, and it's very evident in what that organization is trying to achieve, and you're part of that vision.
Yep.
So you do feel
Exactly.
incredibly involved and connected and accountable. And I think that's
Yeah.
quite powerful. So, yeah, really, really resonate with everything you mentioned in that.
Nice.
And I mean, Dori, what are the most common expectation gaps between an employer and an employee? And how do those gaps quietly drive attrition?
I think there are many gaps, but probably the biggest gap is a power imbalance. Again, I alluded to it earlier, where I'm the leader, I'm the boss, you do what I tell you to do.
Mm,
Um, a lot of people, employees, but employers too, we operate from this belief that we're lucky to have a job, that and so then that creates an imbalance of power. You're lucky to have this job, jobs are scarce. We come from a scarcity mindset.
mm,
And we create a scarcity mindset. And when we come from a scarcity mindset, then we always disempower ourselves, because then the thinking is jobs are hard to come by. If I don't work here, then I'm not going to find a job elsewhere. I need to earn money. I need to support my family. And so that creates an environment where there can be an impower of balance, and it can be abused. So employers saying you're lucky to have a job seeps into the behavior, even if it's not said out loud. If
mm,
you think that, if you think, well, actually, you're lucky to be working here and you should be grateful, then that seeps into how you treat people and how you speak to people. Employment's an agreement, it's an exchange of value, it's not ownership. And
mm,
so, you don't own somebody because they choose to come and work in your organization. You don't, you have an agreement to do work, and there's a payment in return. And so when there's that imbalance of power, I think it starts seeping into everything, and people ultimately don't enjoy that.
mm.
You know, you want to it goes both ways. I think I say to people often when they go for an interview process, they go, oh, well, hopefully I will get chosen. This is often what people say to me, hopefully I will get chosen. And then I say, well, what about you choosing them? And they think, what do you mean? And I go, well, you choosing just as much as they are. The interview process isn't just the company choosing the person, it's the person choosing the company. And so when you go in with that mindset, you're already you balancing that potential imbalance of power, and that imbalance that exists. And it's important for people to make decisions around where they want to work. Do they fit culturally? Are they going to thrive there? We often look at, there's this thing around, people think that the organization must do everything for them. And it's
Mm.
just as much as we're talking about businesses and how businesses treat people, people also need to take accountability for themselves.
Yeah.
So, we go into these businesses, and then it becomes the organization. Oh, they didn't treat me fairly. Oh, they didn't help me grow. Oh, they didn't do this. Oh, they didn't do that. But if you are not taking responsibility for yourself and your own growth, and you don't know what it is that you want to do and where you want to be going and how you want to be doing that, then no one's going to come and rescue you and do that. So you also have an accountability as an individual working or looking for work, or being in an organization, to level up and
Yeah.
take accountability and responsibility for yourself. So it is a two-way street.
Absolutely. That again, super powerful, Dory. I always say to my candidates, it made me think about the point where you said, is the company going to choose me? Am I going to be the selected candidate? You don't know what your competition is like. And I always remind my candidates, don't forget, you're interviewing the client as well. You need
Mm,
to decide, is this an organization that I see myself growing in? Is this the role
yep.
that I truly want? Is it aligned with my skills? Can I
Mm,
see myself working with this team, this panel that is interviewing me? Can I see myself working with them and growing with them and learning
mm,
from them?
mm.
And
And
that is
that's,
a big
yeah.
decision.
Yeah, and that's not arrogance. People often are worried that it's going to be arrogant. It's arrogance if you come across of arrogance and you haven't done your homework, and you're not asking because it really is meaningful. But being curious and being inquisitive and wanting to find out more about the space that you are going to be spending the bulk of your life, actually, really, more time there than you with your own family. I mean, it
Mm,
just makes sense that you would want to know. you'd want to be selective around that. It just makes total common sense to me. And yet, we don't create that, from both sides. Businesses look at people and like, well, we're going to choose you. And often it is that language that's used, you're going to go through an interview process and we're going to select, you will go through a process of 10 interviews and we will decide whether we choose you. Well, actually, you're also going through a process of 10 interviews on the other side, because you're not only interviewing with that company,
Correct.
so you're actually also going through your own selection process, aren't you?
Yes,
So,
yes.
yeah, it's
And
just
comparing company A to company B to company C, and going, what feels better for me? What is more
exactly,
aligned? What am I more
exactly.
excited about? And
Yeah,
what has the bigger growth opportunities in terms
mm,
of my career? So,
exactly.
and yeah, I think we're always reminding our clients about that and educating them that to find the best talent, you also need to move quite quickly. You've got to be quite decisive.
Mm,
Um, because every fantastic candidate is being contacted every day about a very exciting opportunity. So they've got lots of
mm,
options. And
exactly.
they are comparing it to where they are as well, going, is a confirmation that I'm happy and I've been weighing my options, or does company B actually sound way more exciting and has way
Exactly,
more to offer?
exactly. And don't be afraid. Make a decision and then go for it and show up, present yourself fully, professionally, and don't wait. Also just I think we spend so much time waiting for other people to do things for us and like give us permission to do things. Just go ahead and
Your own
present
hands.
yeah, just present your best self, We all grown-ups here and act like an adult from day one. If you walk into a place and you position yourself and you disempower yourself, then that's also going to perpetuate a sense that can happen. So just go in being fully present, fully owning the space, and with a plan, your own personal plan of like how you're going to tackle this and how you're going to present yourself and what are you going to do and how you're going to be the best that you can possibly be. And no one will hold
Absolutely.
you back.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that there's so many synergies in the things that you say and the things that I really focus on prepping my candidates with when I put them in front of the client and they go for an interview,
Mm,
and what I tend to remind them about. And sometimes it's the small things like you've mentioned, like just be your best version, show up for yourself, have some
mm.
structure, ask questions. And that's the best way that you can really take ownership of your career and what you want for your life in general.
Yeah.
So
And if
incredibly,
you and be coached, invest in yourself. I mean, often people say, "Oh, I
yes,
don't have money for a coach." And I mean, I know that coaches are the big thing now and whatever, but they're a big thing for a reason. If you're not prepared and if you're not, athletes don't walk onto the Olympic field not having been coached to become the best that they can possibly be. So just if you feel that you're not interview ready, then don't go to your friends. Your friends don't know. They're well intentioned. Yes, they might say, but they're not necessarily going to give you the best advice. Book a session with a coach. Get interview ready. How do you invest the time and energy in terms of saying, how am I going to be? How am I going to come across? Because it's on you again. It's that accountability. Make it happen for
yes.
yourself.
Absolutely. Spot
Yeah.
on. Dori, very powerful, as I've mentioned, with all your incredible words of wisdom
Thank
and
you.
golden nuggets that we leave with the audience. So thank you for
Awesome.
that. And again, Dori, how do people get hold of you? How do they reach out if they've got questions, they love what you had to say today, and they want to connect with you?
I do have a website. It's my name, Dori Moreno, DORIMORENO.com. So www.dorimoreno.com. And I'm on LinkedIn as myself, Dori Moreno. And yeah, probably those are the two best places to find me. Um, yeah, Google me. There's the links are all there. Interviews,
Right?
whatever. Yeah. So, I
Amazing.
find I Google myself often just to make sure that I can be found. And
Yes,
yeah,
what's
Google
popping
me.
up?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And we'll make sure to leave those details down in the caption as well when we do
Thank you.
post
Nice.
our podcast. So thank you, Dori. And yeah, to our viewers out there, just don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on these incredible episodes. and share with your network, share with your colleagues, share with your friends. Let them also feel inspired by the work that we do and the incredible guest speakers that we have on our podcast, and drop a comment. And we will be sure to see you on the next one. We're really excited. And thank you so much for your time again, Dori. It was incredible. And
Pleasure. Thank you for
we're
the
super
invite.
excited to have you here.
Yeah.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, Dori.